Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing F1 League here in Britain. I'm Ben Rwaggy Amkasa, and joining me on the caster's desk is the legendary Jamie Amkasa. Elder, how you doing?
I'm not too shabby, man. How are you?
I am not too shabby indeed. Much better than the weather, that's for sure. But it is Britain, which is unsurprising that there's some raindrops falling, and we are going to be starting the qualifying session on the intermediate tyres. Now, Amkasa, we know a lot of these drivers. I think we know every single one of these drivers here, actually. So, Amkasa, I'm going to chuck you under the bus straight off the bat and apologise in advance. But what is your top 3 prediction going to be for the end of the qualifying session?
I think it's going to really come down to how this weather works out for us. If this dries up, or it goes on to full wets at some point during this qualifying, that could really change how this works for us. We've just seen I7 leave the session. That's not the best start for him. It's going to be hard, right? You're looking towards Formula Danny. He's going to be quick. Possibly Hypers. He could be in for a shout, along with Simon, Wigang, Hayes. These are the guys you're looking at, as well as Alvaro. Any one of these could take part. I think it's really going to come down to the conditions and such. When it's wet, just these minor mistakes can cost you an entire lap.
Yeah.
But let's go for it. Let's go for Formula Danny taking the pole.
Okay.
I'm a bit in the dark here. I know most of these drivers, but I know them from last season. I've seen a few of them this season, but not in this situation. I think it's going to have to be Formula Danny taking the pole. I'm giving it to our boy Hypers to get second.
Okay.
Third. Alvarum. We'll go for third.
So we're pretty similar, to be honest, in the top 3. I mean, I'm with you on the Formula Danny. For me, it's a toss-up between Formula Danny or Alvaro Carreton. I'm going to go Alvaro P1, only because he seems to just seem a little bit more comfortable. Formula Danny is just insane, though. He is absolutely exceptional. I'm going to put him in a solid P2. P3, though, is where he gets really sort of unimaginable. I don't quite know exactly who I'm going to put there. Hypers does have the pace to do it, but it's very hit and miss for him. I think Simon has really been delivering overall, and so I'm going to put Simon in P3. Yeah, but we'll see how we get on. So yeah, we've got a lot of cars out on track at the minute doing their out laps. Amkasa, would you like to do the honours of giving us a track rundown if we got on board with the legendary Formula Danny?
I'm already on board with him. He's just getting himself prepped here. He's come up towards the final few corners. Just getting himself some nice little airs. Come up through the final corner, what was at one point not the final corner. And then onto this little home straight. Here we go. And we are flying a little bit wobbly coming off that final corner, but getting that power down nice and clean. Throw it through turn 1 Abbey. Through the drive, that's just a little tiny lift, if that. Turn 2 Farm. Into turn 3, hard braking. The DRS detection point is just before that corner. We won't sit here as Flying Finn's backed out of that lap. And through turn 4, this is Arena. 4 and 5 linking together quite well. And this will be in the drive. This is DRS straight here as we go down towards Brooklands. And this is where we're going to see a few chances for overtaking. Really hard to get the overtake into this corner. You want to be on the outside of Brooklands, because if you can hang around there, you get the inside here of Luffield, turn 7. This long right-hander. You get on the inside here, you're dead set to get the position. But it's so hard to get to that place. It is possible as we go through a kink of Woodcote, as we come up to along the original home straight towards Cops Corner. And we see a little shift down there. Oh, that back end is not happy with being out there, that is for sure. He's survived it as we come up to Maggots through turn 10. Now he's shifted down to Mozilla. He's backed out. We're still on board with him as we go through turn 12. Beckett's turn 13. And then normally you get the power down now as you go through Chapel, that little kink there. DRS wide open if it was dry. Down the hanger straight. Down towards, eventually when we get there, down towards Stowe, which is a deceiving corner because it's on a bit of a crest and can put you off if you're not really paying attention. these guys, I suspect, will be paying attention. Their back ends might be somewhere else, but so 15 Stowe, he'll probably kind of miss the pits. The next corner will be Vale, the sharp left-hander, that is turn 16, and then double right-hander, 17 and 18, and Fallen Danny's actually going to stay with it, so we'll just stick on board with it for a moment as we do that turn 16, eventually. He's getting there. Then the double right-hander, 17 and 18, and then back onto that home straight. He's putting the power down so hard, that back end is not happy.
No, he really committed to that lap there, didn't he? Initially, you could see the way he came through Cops, it was really chucking it out there. And we've seen him before do some laps around some tracks and actually really tried to drift all the way around it. I thought he was going to hold it and actually just continue with the lap just for the memes, but no, he decided, yeah, I'm on Inters, yeah, I can do as many laps as I want on them, but I do also want to make sure that I'm actually still going to be alive when I get around it. So he's decided to reset himself, go again, and that's what he's currently doing. The fastest lap of the minute is by Jano, who's currently 1:38.248. 3/10 clear of Preschneider, who's P2, and Matthias there in P3, 4/10 off of him, almost 5/10 actually. That gap's getting a little bit extensive, and then it's quite close between him and Mr. Anker in 4th, Photon in 5th, and Collis in 6th. Martin G, though, he's only a touch behind Collis by 3/10, but he's quite the way off when it comes to Jano in P1.
Yeah, it's still very early doors. We don't really know what the weather's going to be doing, and I think that could be a crucial factor in this qualifying. If this dries up, people are going to start taking those risky shots right at the end, possibly the one-shot qualifying if this dries up to become full wets, which is going to be fun to watch. Full dries, sorry, not full wets. Which is going to be great for us to watch. Will be great for them because they're just throwing it in for the first time on those dry tyres, but we'll see how they get on.
We will indeed. We've just seen I7 start his hot lap as well, currently running through turns 2 into 3. It's an area of the track here. This one is such an awkward corner. You want to try and carry as much pace as you can through it, but you also don't want to run too wide. Finally, the Danny improves, 1:38.187, so that reset was exactly what he needed to do. And good stuff from Formula Danny. Yeah,
start is mean to go on eventually. I'm just still updating my times for my names for telemetry app.
Well, whilst you're doing that, I will keep an eye on Hayes and Simon, because Simon's coming around now. He's still on a hot lap. He's in mode 3, so it's not a particularly very hot lap. He comes around the corner. It will be a time on the board. It's a 1:38.536. Still a good time, but not quite near the top of the minute. 4/10 clear is the gap between him and Formula Danny, and Hayes has invalidated 2 laps so far. Currently mode 3, mode 5 now as they run up down the hang straight into Stowe. Stowe is going to be a really awkward corner in the wet. This is going to be it's almost as bad as Cop's corner. I mean, you want to carry the pace through it. You can see how much he has to back off. Normally, you would be just flicking the car right through there, but he just can't. He's coming into the pits anyway, and that's the end of his run. We'll not be getting a time on the board on this stint. We'll have to choose for another one, but no fear. We still have just over 10 minutes remaining of the session. There's still tons of opportunity for the weather to change, but also for the track to evolve. You might even get more of a dry line, potentially. And if the rain stops, we might actually see... I don't think it's going to stop, though, looking at the sky. I mean, obviously, being British ourselves, we can read that sky quite easily and say, yeah, still going to rain, no chance of sunlight.
That's British summer for you. Or the last 3 weeks, I think, down here. I've been away for a week, so it's not quite been 3 weeks for me, but... yeah, so let's see. Formula Danny is going to be on a reinstallation lap. He's going to go again here as well. Look to increase his time out the front. Still a few fourth drivers still to set a time out there. Hayes, as mentioned, has invalidated twice and has brought it back into pits. Hypers and Lemon still to go out. And Alvaro I'm never going to get names right.
Caraton. There you
go. He is on his way in the Red Bull. And he's just going through the kink of turn 8. Let's see, can he handle Cop's corner in the slightly damp? He's going for gear 6.
Oh,
that was
almost. Nearly took a trip in the wrong way then. That would have been very bad if that had happened.
I think he's been watching Formula Danny's videos too much. He's got a lot of drift going on here. Is he going to continue? Just get a time on the board? I think... Actually, I don't know. We'll see. Doesn't look like he's going to continue, does he? But
well, he's starting mode 0 at the minute. There's no way he's going to... Surely he's not going to commit. He might reset himself because it is his first hot lap, really, so it's not really going to be a problem for him, but he's decided, nope, I'm chucking myself into the pits. But how's his teammate doing, Lemon? He's currently coming up towards Cop's corner. Is he actually going to be able to control it and not lose the back end of the car? stable, nice and smooth actually. I think that's probably the smoothest I've seen Lemon take that corner ever, even in the dry. He's just took that beautifully. Now coming up to Maggots and Beckett's. Exit here would need to be crucial, especially when it comes to the race. If you get the exit here just right, especially if it's dry, get that DRS wing wide open. The slipstream is huge down this straight, and it's such an easy overtaking opportunity, especially when you're coming into Stowe. And you can, the track limits on this game allow you to run quite wide here. So there's an opportunity for him to take it around the outside. As you can see, he's really abusing the track limits there, and actually going to be looking pretty decent coming into the line.
Yeah, we'll see what he does. Final couple of corners then for Lemon. Let's see what can he do. Can he get it? This is looking very promising actually. P6. That's not too bad for an opening gambit from him.
Yeah. We got Matthias out on track as well and just started his hot lap. Currently running up to sector 2. This is a really awkward.
Is out there as well. He's coming out to Cops. I think we should just watch Cops corner for the rest of the day. If it's some entertainment.
Especially if it's wet like this. I mean, you can watch them go through it, and Jana made it look easy, to be honest. But if you go on board with the others when they go through it, I mean, we saw what Formula Danny was doing through there. He really kicked the back end out. Yeah,
Photon was trying to do that as well. I've managed to get a track map up, so I will know when they are approaching that corner, and we can keep an eye on anyone losing the rear ends. But so far, so good. I don't think anyone's really been properly off yet. They've gone off to get out of the way of other drivers. That's about it.
Well, this is where you get the top talent of the drivers. Remember, this is AOR F1. This is the greatest of the greatest outside, well, including F1 Esports. A few of these drivers here are actually part of the F1 Esports teams, remember. So they've got the raw talent that they need to, and they've been refining that for quite a while, especially in preparation for the next Esports event. But as it stands, it's going to be Formula Danny, who's actually trolling us out a little bit there, chucking some softs on. I don't think that's going to be happening. Photon's across the line, gone almost 8/10 faster. Now puts himself P5, 138.546. It's getting very close now towards the front. In fact, if we look at the gap to leader, the top 11 are all within a second of each other, but actually the top 6 are within 4/10 of each other.
Yeah, that's quite impressive when you consider the current weather situation. Still a few cars out on track. We've got 6 minutes left of the session, so we're not quite at your favourite time, but we're almost there. But at the same time, considering they're putting on inters, there is no real calm, is there? They can just do a few laps. As Fresnida decides to troll us a little bit, putting on some soft tyres.
I'm not sure that... I mean, if they do go for a soft run, then they clearly know something I don't. I think the only thing that we could possibly think is that the track is going to dry very, very quickly. But, like we said earlier, this is Britain. That doesn't happen. If it rains, it pours. And Flying Finn is currently appreciative of that out there. But Hayes finally gets a time on the board after 2 invalidated laps. Manages to go P7 with 138.614. Starting to join that little pack that's bunched up a little bit there. Flying Finns come into the pits. You've got i7, Martin G, Alvaro, and Hypers all on outlaps as it stands. i7's just started.
Yeah, just seeing Flying Finn bail out of his flying lap. He's brought that straight back into the pits. So i7's just started. Martin G has just started as well. So they're both on those flying laps. And we'll see what they can do. Hypers is out on an outlap as well. Still no time from him. Along with Garrison down there in 14th. They'll be looking just to get something on the board at this stage. But as I say that, I'm looking at the halos, particularly of i7. The dots are less.
Oh.
And there we go. I was about to say it. The dots are getting less. Are we getting towards dry? And thank you, Race Director, for saying we are getting towards that point.
This is so strange. It's still raining. Yeah, you can literally see rain falling. But yeah, you're right. There's no spots on the halo. The DRS has been enabled now. It's going to be a point where the grip of the tires is actually going to start working for those that are on the softs. So we thought we were being trolled. It was actually the weather that's trolling us.
This is going to be absolutely wonderful to watch. All these drivers are going to be vying to be, except for Mr. Rankin who's put wets on, will be vying to be the last person to start their flying lap. Simply because they now have the driest track at the time. And it's going to be so hard for them to time this correctly. They're all sitting in the pits now. I wouldn't be surprised if i7 brings this in along with Martin G. They're just going to back out of this because everyone else is in the pits. There goes i7. And I suspect you'll see Martin G follow him in a moment. And
there it is.
It's come a little bit early for you, but it is that time.
It's the official time, the calm before the storm, as everybody is in the pits prepping themselves for that final push, choosing the tyres, choosing the fuel load, choosing how they want to attack. The race because ultimately those in the top 10, they will be starting the race on whatever tyres they qualify on. Those outside of it, like Mr. Anka as he stands, he's currently P11. He's currently in prime position ultimately in being in P11 because it does allow you to choose the strategy completely, start on fresh tyres, and you can go for that harder to softer combo when you get into the actual race. It's a great strategy when you are outside the top 10, but you want bragging rights, don't you? You want the fact to be in the top 10 and show you have got the pace, and that's currently what these guys are trying to do. Matthias is the first person out on track, currently doing an outlap with his esports teammate Lemon, also just made his way out as well.
Yeah, competing teams though in this, that's the important part. And it's interesting, we've got 3 Polish people in this one league, which is boded well for the Polish community. They should hopefully have something to cheer for at the end of this race, especially if you're looking towards Hypers and Lemon. I'm not entirely sure on Matthias. I've not seen him enough. He may be a hidden gem in this grid, but we'll soon see. It's going to be so hard on these dries just to keep them warm on these outlaps, to keep them cars facing the right way as well, because there'll still be a little bit of water lying around. You take particularly Cop's Corner or Abbey, just take it with a little bit too much speed, and you are going to be doing drifting or just sliding towards the wall. As we are nearly fully on track, there's 2 cars in the pits.
4 actually. The thing that is mental is how late they've left it. Look how late they've left it. Formula Danny now finally makes his way out the pits. He has cut it so fine. I think he may actually struggle to make it. He's going to have to go all out in order to make it. I mean, ultimately, yeah, we're looking at 126s, 127s if the track is still damp. Ideally, we're looking at really low 125s, really. But and then now, so he's just come out now, effectively coming into turn 3. And I'm not sure. I think this might be a little bit too close for Formula Danny.
Well, he might have to use everything he's got to just get to the line in time. Yellow flag's flying out. That's just people slowing down. There's a big queue coming through Maggers and Beckett's at the moment. But Matthias is out there on his lap. He's going to have traffic. But hopefully that traffic will realise that he is on a fly and will get well out of the way. And so Matthias is on a lap. Also on a lap, Photon. He is out there. He's just started that flying lap. So Matthias will be setting a time pretty quickly as he just goes through Cop's Corner aggressively, but he's clean.
Yeah, it looked okay. Went to mode falling back to mode 3 again. Usually if you've invalidated, you back out completely, but the time is running out, so you may have, if he has invalidated, which it doesn't look like he has, then he may actually just be in a sprint mode to get back to it. But with the DRS now being available because the track is dry enough and the race control team have advised that yes, we can go for it. Let's see what you can deliver now. 138.187 is the last fastest time that we've had, and that was on intermediate tyres. The first person to cross the line is not going to be Matthias. He might actually still cross and pass it.
Invalidated.
But yeah.
Invalidated in sector 1. I should have realised that earlier, sorry.
Well, he's going for it now, though. He's going to cross the line with 6 seconds remaining. I want to see where Formula Danny is. Oh, he's actually made it. Oh, perfect. He couldn't have nailed that anymore if he tried. 3 seconds remaining. He's going to be going for it. I think Photon is going to be the next person to cross the line and set the fastest on softs.
Yeah, I'm looking at the fastest sectors at the moment, but they're all changing every single time I look at it. No surprise that currently fastest in Sector 2 is Photon, as he's the only one who has done a Sector 2 so far, as Hypers now breaks it. But Photon next man coming out to the line, followed shortly by Hypers. Photon does, funny enough, whole time.
Yep, 131.530 on softs. Remember, the strategy is softs to mediums here. It's absolutely doable. There's no sort of question marks around whether or not that can be done. You don't really want to go on the hards if you can avoid it, but Hypers improves. A 131.237 has reached the end of the session. Formula Danny is chucking it through Cop's Corner. Looks a lot more in shape than he did earlier. Where's Jarno? Jarno's actually not far away from the final position. Sorry, final few corners. We've got a Haas there. Is that Hayes? It is Hayes. Hayes is coming up to the line. Lemon managed to get in P3, but Hayes joins in, puts him on pole. 130.548. And Jarno goes P2.
There we go.
Yeah, Simon, 130. Where is he? Where is Karaton?
Karaton's one of the last people, but Presnide is even further back. And he's gone fastest in Sector 2. Karaton's fastest in Sector 1. He puts it P2. Times are flowing in here. Trying to keep on top of them all.
Yeah, we got another McLaren coming in for Mr. Anker. He goes P6. Matthias goes P4. Cars are just really chucking it in now, and I didn't catch
Danny.
the last fuse. Danny made it.
Danny, followed by Simon versus Carson.
Wow. I mean, he literally cut it down to the wire, didn't he, to get across the line and actually start a hot lap. But there's your rundown now as we get to the end of the qualifying session. Formula Danny takes pole with a 130.114, and then very closely behind him is Preschneider in P2. Simon takes P3 with Alvaro in P4, Flying Finn P5, Matthias in P6, Hayes P7, Mr. Anker P8, Yano in P9, I7 rounds out the top 10, and then best of the rest is Hypers. And the top 10 are all separated by just over 6.5 tenths, and then you get quite far out when you get to sort of Hypers and the Mighty G and everywhere else. You can see it's further out. And Collis didn't actually get to set a time on the dry tyre. Did actually qualify on his intermediate tyre. Won't obviously have to start the race on that, but still, that's a shame that couldn't quite get the time in on the dry stint. But now we're going to come into the race. We're going to see what the weather situation is. We've not had a weather report. Is it dry?
Overcast. No.
Drum roll, please. It is dry. It is overcast.
Very
well,
overcast.
like cloud. I can see a tiny bit of blue sky there, just above the grandstand. That is practically summer for us here in Britain. We're just waiting for the drivers now to sort their race strategy out, work out how much fuel they want to have in their cars. Those of them that started outside the top 10 are going to be choosing the tyres they're going to start the race on. Obviously, Collis is going to be one of them because he was qualified on the intermediate tyre. And I think ultimately you're going to have to go sort of mediums to start off with, and then switch over to the softs after that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I would say how the weather holds up as well. It could, in theory, it could be the opposite to what we just had in qualifying. It could rain towards the end and really mess up strategies. We're going to see these tyres, obviously, top 10 are all going to be on softs. Outside that, that's free choice, and that will give us a clue, a bit potentially, of what the weather's going to be like. Let's have a look at those tyres then. Everyone soft bar, Hypers, and Photon.
It's interesting. I think Hypers and Photon have actually made the right call there. If you're going to start outside the top 10, get yourself on those harder tyres, because that's going to mean that when you get to your next stint, you will be able to go onto the softer tyre and just chuck in ridiculous lap times. You're not going to have to worry about the fuel load on your car because you can also manage that as you're going in towards a soft stint. But realistically, you do want to be in the top 10. Obviously, you've got currently Formula Danny leading them away on the formation lap with Preschneider is going to be chasing him down. In terms of the actual qualifying pace, they were pretty close. It's just whether or not you can get the jump going in towards turns 2 and then 3.
Yeah, don't forget, Preschneider was the last man to cross the line as well, so he had the best run. Somehow Formula Danny actually overtook him on the outlap. Kind of goes against the... It's an unwritten code, isn't it, in Formula 1, that you don't overtake on outlaps unless the person in front is doing something stupid or going really slow.
Yeah.
So it's an unusual move to have done from Formula Danny, but it seems to have worked for him. Maybe he just fancied a bit more... Maybe he thought he wasn't going to make it, so he just went full ham. And he's still got a pole. That's what matters for him.
Yeah.
Schneider just off the back of him, and we'll see what he can do. It's going to be an interesting race down towards turn 1 then.
See, now the thing I'm looking at is I'm not seeing any of them that have chosen the underfueling strategy. It's obviously a very unique sort of strategy to go for. I'm glad to see that they've actually gone for a huge amount of fuel. A lot of these drivers actually will be running rich for the majority. If they have chosen to go for quite a lot of fuel on board, then they can just run rich. Yeah, you get the engine temperature up quite a fair bit, but in terms of power loss, you don't really lose anything. It's not enough for you to consider doing anything other than pushing for it. But here they come now towards the grid boxes. Amkasa, very quickly, what's your podium for the end of this race?
Danny, Simon, Carson.
I'm going to go for as is. I'm going to go for Danny, Preschneider,
I was
Simon.
thinking that. I just don't know if Preschneider's going to have it.
Well, it's time for him to find out if he does have it. As you can see, all the cars are in the grid boxes. The lights are on. When we go out, then we are going to be getting underway with the British Grand Prix here in the Apex Online Racing League. And it's lights out. And immediately you can see that Preschneider's got a really good start, but not quite as good a start as Formula Danny has. He manages to stay in P1 as he comes towards turn 1. Turn 2 is going to keep it nice and tidy as well. He's actually ran a little bit deep there as Preschneider, but he might be able to get down the inside. He's not Formula Danny, but Simon's coming around the outside, looking for in the inside for next turn 3. Oh, bit of contact between the two, wheel to wheel. No damage on either car. Simon might be able to hold him dead to rights, and he has. So Simon now, before he even finished the first lap, is up to P2.
Yeah, small lockup from Simon helped him through that turn 4 there, but he's made it stick. As I'm looking further back, the two medium drivers are dropping backwards. Photon is at the very back. Hypers is struggling for grip. He was just battling Collis, but he's now up onto the back of his compatriot Lemon, who's looking down the back end of I7. And if they can hold it here, then it's going to be a long afternoon if he drops to the very back. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So we're coming towards the end of the first lap, and all I can see is Hayes really sizing up Matthias now, looking through Maggots and Beckers. If he can get the slingshot out here, he might be able to actually go full beans all the way down the hang straight. He's gone for mode 5. That's just to get him closer towards... Yeah, he's coming for him. Look at him.
Instead. Yeah, Hayes
Yana's got the inside.
Hayes got a little bit too much on turn 14, sorry. Just touched the grass a little bit more than Yano did. Slow him down just a little bit, and that allowed Yano to just get that power down, better line, slaying it on past down the hanging straight, and he is up to P7 and staring down the back of Matthias already.
Yeah, indeed. Following the Danny, obviously saying the fastest lap because it's the first lap, and he's in P1. So still, nothing's going to change just yet. Flying Finn, though, is looking for an opportunity on Alvaro Caraton. Alvaro Caraton is getting closer to Preshneider, and Simon is not really losing anything. He's just sat there holding on at the back. You've also got Hypers and Collis with sort of places. Collis has got P13. Hypers is trying to get in there and scrap with him. A little bit of a wobble there on the exit. You've got I7 who's actually looking for Lemon. Trying to repay the favour, it looks like. He's actually going for it in the inside. There's Lemon coming across to defend it. I7 goes deep in towards it. There's contact between the two. They're both rotated. I7 loses out quite drastically. Lemon is still alive, still going strong, side by side with Collis, and he's managed to hold on to P11. That was very ambitious there from I7, I think.
Yeah, that was... Was it a risky move? Yes. Could he have avoided it? Yes. It's as simple as that in my eyes. He went for it, and unfortunately it came off terrible for him. Came off not great for Lemon, but Lemon only lost a place in a bit of time. I7 would have lost a lot of tyre life as well. It just burned off the rears a bit more. But what's done is done. He's now got to recover. I'm keeping an eye on the tyre wears as well, just to see how they work. I've only got a handful of people's numbers for that, so it's a bit of guesswork involved.
Right, here you go. You can see time's really starting to tick in now. We saw Formula down to the fastest lap, and then Media having beaten by Simon and then Preshneider. And DRS has now been enabled as we started lap 3. We're immediately going to see it almost as he's come to that middle straight in the run in towards Brooklands. It's going to be Simon possibly closing in just a bit more, just to sort of line up the overtake when we come to the hanger straight. This little DRS zone here, you do see some overtaking opportunities, but most of the time it's just sort of to bring themselves a little bit closer so you can really prepare for the hanger straight run. But there's so many corners between the two that it's actually quite difficult for you to pull that off. We'll see how they get on further on. But the timings you're seeing on the left-hand side now are completely accurate. So the gaps are actually exactly correct. Yano is closing in on Matthias, coming in towards Cop's corner. Matthias is obviously safe for now. But if he doesn't find a way to get a gap, he might be under attack in the run in towards Stowe.
Yeah, as you go through the Magnus and Beckett's complex, the lovely flowing corners. Best corners in the world of F1. I'm not biased in the slightest. Simon's got an alright drive out. Preshneider's got a decent one. He's actually closing out the bit to the back of Simon. He's not going to be able to make a move here, but he'll be right in the wing mirrors of that Renault and saying, look, I'm here, I'm coming. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, Preshneider is still sitting pretty in P3. Gets really close to the back of that Renault there for a second. Almost went into the gearbox of him, but very calculated. Nothing to worry about. Alvaro Caraton, there's actually a swap going on between Matthias and Yano. Yano gets now up in a P6. He's driven really well to be able to get what he's got. And in fact, if we look at the biggest winners and biggest losers, biggest winner at the minute is Collis. Next up is Yano. Obviously, 4 places again for Collis, 3 for Yano. But sadly, obviously, due to the contact, I7 has lost the most places. 5 places down. Now down into dead last in 15th place.
Yeah, I'm expecting we're going to be starting to see these pit stops come in the next 5 laps, maybe 6 laps, around 9 to 10. Maybe I7 might come in a little early because he had that slide. He would have just heated up those tyres a little bit more. He would have brought the temperature down, but it still would have given him a little bit more wear than everyone else. Obviously, this is only based on his numbers. I've only got his numbers, I believe, so I can't give a full, accurate recount. Well, I've got another one there. That's helpful. They're
I'm
all
just
about
seeing Collis's gap at the minute. It's currently set at 2 seconds. Not quite as much as much as you would want. Collis actually getting a 3-second time penalty, just showing how much he's struggling at the minute in terms of pace. It's not quite working out too good for him. We got Martin G who's actually closing in on the back of Mr. Anker. That's not really going to change at the moment. Actually, he's just lost a fair bit of time. The gap actually closing in at the front though. Look at Simon ready to attack. Yeah, Formula Danny. We don't have DRS straight on the home straight anymore. That was last year. This year is purely all about slipstream and looking for an inside opportunity.
Yeah, Yano is looking quick. Fastest sector 1 and 2 of the race so far. In the same lap, this could be a new fastest lap here for him.
There
you go. And it's only a 10th and a half faster than everyone else, but it is still just puts down a mark to Flying Finn. Look, I'm here. I'm going quick. You better worry.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, you know, we're talking about a sport where thousandths of a second are huge. So you know, if you can get a full 10th on someone, that's massive. Speaking of tenths, it's currently Simon bringing those tenths down as he's closing up towards the back of Formula Danny. Not necessarily looking for an overtaking opportunity just yet, but Lemon's doing that. Look at him coming in on Collis now, going in towards Brooklands. He's going for the inside line. It's not quite worked out too well for him. Collis gets a little bit of a nudge in the back there. Now as he come into the field, he's got a bit deep, but Lemon can't get down the inside. Collis holds on to P11, but that gap is just extending.
Yeah, but they're still quite tightly bound. The entire grid is... we'll see them all on the hanger straight at the same time still after 5 laps, or 4 completed, nearly 5 completed. They are still quite tightly bound, so 2 seconds, yes, it is a long time in F1, but it's still not that far. You can close that up in a lap or two based on the speed of everyone else around you. And there you go, everyone is still on the same straight for now. It's nearly not, but yeah, it's still going to be a long afternoon left of this. Well, a long evening now. It's not a long afternoon, is it?
No, it's definitely not. It's actually almost night time, especially in the UK. But Hypers is really close to the back of Lemon now. Almost got his wheel alongside of him. Bear in mind, Hypers is on the medium compound tyre. He should be slower by quite a margin, but he's not. He's hanging in beautifully on the back of Lemon, and this is an opportunity for him to just maintain the pace. He's not necessarily looking to go for a pass. He doesn't have to, ultimately, because he can actually just hold on there, just sit comfortable, and maintain ERS, maintain tyre wear, and just go for it later on when you get to the soft stint. But he also has to make sure that he's not losing the rest of the grid. I mean, Collis being 2.2 seconds down is obviously something that's he's got to think about, but not really that big a deal when it comes to it. Oh, I've just seen Alvaro Caraton almost getting into the back of Preshneider there. Preshneider gets a good exit. Caraton is actually closing in just a touch. You've got Flying Finn, who's right there on the back of him as well. Coming up towards Copse Corner. I don't think we're going to be seeing an overtaking opportunity just yet. I mean, we did see a pass around the outside. I think it was Jano who got Matthias through it in Copse Corner. But not at the minute. No changes just yet. Yeah,
it's a great corner to actually overtake round because it looks beautiful, but it is so dangerous. And they are pretty much going at the full pelt round there. They might lift off a little bit depending on their tyre wear and how much fuel they got in the car. But coming back to tyre wear, the reasons Hypers is looking quick is these softs are starting to fall off. And we are starting to going to see some pits any moment in the next... Well, I said lap 9 and 10 was my prediction. I'm going to stick with that. As I say, Mr. Ranker comes in. Thanks for ruining that. But yeah, we're starting to get towards that pit window time, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Anker coming into lap 5, well, end of lap 5, sorry, lap 6, is sort of just an indicator of how much the tyre wear is affecting him. Whether or not it's a car setup that's causing the problem, or whether or not he's just driven a little bit too aggressive on the tyres, is two completely different things. If he is struggling or just tries to go for the undercut, which I think he might actually be doing, then, Mr. Anker has got an opportunity to push himself further in, but he's gone for a very early pit stop. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take the mediums all the way to the end of this race. What's that, 19 laps? 20 if you include the one that they're on right now? I think it's a little bit too far to go.
Well, we will soon see. As Hypers is all over the back of his former teammate Lemon. They know each other very well, and they are getting acquainted once again here at Silverstone. And Hypers just dropped off a little bit now, and Lemon kicks up a bit of dust. And Hypers just a bit wobbly there. Through Copse Corner, but still holding on, and this is where he's going to have a chance if he can get a good drive off here. And look how close he's got through those corners. Has he got a little bit more grip? He's got a decent amount of grip, but Lemon does have DRS to help defend. He's in mode 0 though, so Hypers will close up, and it's right back on the rear. And he really needs to get past Lemon, or Lemon gets past Collis so he can get past Collis, but that will help them.
But this is actually good for Hypers now because he was sitting on the back of Lemon, just letting Lemon do his thing, sitting onto the back of Collis. Collis obviously coming in now. Lemon's got nothing to use. He's got no DRS to use at all. Hypers is very comfortably ahead on those mediums. He wants to try and ruin Lemon's pace by just battling with him. Even if it's only slightly, it will help him considerably. Hayes on the back of Matthias, who's also 2.3 seconds off of Jarno. It's, the battles are getting really extensive now.
Yeah, the grid is starting to spread out a little bit now, so the gap's starting to get bigger and bigger. Once they get past 1 second, obviously no more DRS, but Hayes looking, no, he was almost looking, but he backed off very early down that straight. He still managed to close right up to the back of Matthias, but he'll have another go in a handful of corners time if he doesn't fancy a shot before then.
I mean, Hayes, I think he could have had that, to be honest. I think he could have really just committed to it and gone for it. But then at the same time, it's a question of, well, should I really try? I'm just going to destroy my tyres doing it. I'm going to need the tyres to try and go a little bit faster, a little bit further. You know, if I keep the grip maintained throughout here, I can actually get a good slingshot out of the corner, maybe potentially even get a DRS overtake on Matthias here. He's got Mode 5 already on the exit. Is he going to be going for the Mode 4 to slipstream? He's there. Matthias is in trouble now. I think he knows it. You've also got a little push coming on for the back line. He's gone for the inside in towards Stowe. They're going to be wheel to wheel. A little bit of a nudge there between the two. And actually, Hayes gets very out of shape. You've now got position changes going on. He's got pit lanes coming into effect. Hypers has managed to get past Lemon as well. Lemon's actually really close to the back of Hypers. That all happened whilst we were watching Matthias and Hayes.
Yeah, so Hypers now moves up the grid as those pit stops come into play. This is his time to put in some quick laps. Because they're going to come out and they're going to be a bit faster than him to start with. But he now needs to absolutely nail some laps on these mediums. Drive like that. What the hell happened there?
It just looked like he just lost the rear and then tried to catch it. Ran really wide and they're turning in for turn 4. And that is just not how you do it at all. He's lost the position that he's worked so hard to get back on. Lemon's got DRS as well to help defend himself. Hyper's looking for an inside line, and he's actually going to be really putting himself out of loss here because even though he may hold it, Photon might get the inside here. Look at him coming for it, but no, Hyper's just defends it just enough. Photon was not wanting to put himself in harm's way potentially. Lemon's still under pressure though. Hyper's still applying that pressure. He's actually going for the inside line in towards Cop's corner. They're going side by side. Lemon will get sent over to the outside. And actually, Hyper keeps him going all the way out. They get onto the grass. There's more contact between the two of them. Photon slips on by to take both places. Hyper's still alongside Lemon. Lemon's still trying to stick his nose in there a little bit. But finally, Hyper's manages to get past Lemon. But at the end of it, he actually doesn't gain anything. And Lemon loses out 2 places.
He might gain it. He's just getting up to the back of Photon there. And now has the back end of that Toro Rosso to stare at for a little bit longer. He thought he was away from a Red Bull type car, but no, he's back onto the rear of it, and that is not going to help in this case.
Nope, not even slightly. Speeding in the pit lane, 5-second stop-go penalty has been applied to him, so his race has just definitely been hindered. Remember, even if he doesn't pit again, he still has to have that added to the end of his race, so that will be a penalty applied no matter what happens. Oh, Formula Danny, sorry, not Formula Danny, Hyper's actually getting involved there. Formula Danny's in the pits, is what he's doing. So Hyper's attacking, might actually go for a push here on Photon.
I'm just watching where Simon's coming. He's going to be ahead. He's ahead of Formula Danny. Simon's got the undercut on Formula Danny, has taken effective race lead, and Formula Danny's now battling with Flying Finn. Flying Finn down the inside. He's going to have the run on the inside here, but is Formula Danny can have the pace around the outside to hold him off? He is. And he's going to hold on to that P5, but Flying Finn wants to come back. But Formula just has too much speed in that car as Caraton goes very deep into the corner. He could lose out here to Jarno, but Jarno's not going to come through there. Jarno's tyres are just still trying to warm up completely. I think they're nearly at that temperature now. But important there, Simon gets in the undercut on Formula Danny. Now Formula Danny is on the back foot. He's got to step it up now. He's had to lead the whole race. Can he take it back off Simon?
Well, meanwhile, Hypers and Photon are scrapping in towards, they come for Stowe. Hypers has the inside, has DRS all the way down the straight, and obviously he's now ahead. Photon does lose out. He's still got a nose in, but he backs out, says, no, it's not worth it. I saw what happened between you and Lemon. I'm not saying it's your fault, but I don't want to necessarily get involved in that if I can avoid it. So still Hypers is now ahead. He's actually got race lead. Photon still chasing him down.
Yeah, Preston's just come into the pits. He's on the mediums. He's heading towards the exit. Where's he going to come out in this battle for what is currently effective race lead, but could change? And he's coming towards the end of the pit lane. Where is he now? Let's see. He's only just coming out to speed, so he's going to come on to the back of Jarno. Is he? Yes, quite literally straight on the back end of Jarno. So he resumes that battle, and that is a 6 car. Is it 6 or is it 5? 6 for what is effective race lead.
Yeah, 6 cars really going for it. Simon leading that train. Ultimately, he's net P1, like you said. He's got the undercut. It worked out beautifully for him. Flying Finn is still hanging in there on the back of Formula Danny, but Alvaro Caraton's getting really close to him. Might actually prepare himself for an aggressive push, as that's a definite mistake there from Alvaro. He could have easily lost out to Jarno, but no, he still sits P6. Jarno cannot get himself down the inside. He's still going. And I think it's going to be like this at least until we get to the end of the hangar straight.
Well, you never know. It depends if Formula Danny nails the exit of this corner and Simon makes a mistake. That could see an overtake. He's gone board with Formula Danny as he's coming towards said exit, but Simon looks to have nailed that. Formula Danny is only in mode 2 now, so he's not pushing for that overtake as he goes down to 0. But behind, Caraton looking at Flying Finn. Is he going to try and send a cheeky one down the inside? I don't think he's going to be close enough, though. No. Never mind.
No, definitely not. Still, you know, it's good to see that they're all really battling. They're all within like 4/10 of everybody ahead. Photon
and Hypers. Hypers hit the corner, turn 3 a little too hard. Actually bounced his rear end out a little bit more than he'd like to. That's allowed Photon to close up a little bit. He's in DRS now. Mode 4. Is he going to take the race lead? Sending one down the inside. He is there, but Hypers has that outside line, and he's run deep and made a big mistake there. If he had stuck on that line around the outside, he could have taken it back off Photon. Strange to say, the outside line of turn 6 Brooklands is key because you get the inside of 7 Luffield.
Yeah.
And that is where you get the position back. And unfortunately, he made a small mistake and cost himself a chance to take back the race lead. But Photon, your current race leader.
Yeah, exactly. Photon doing a very good job there of securing that overtake. Yes, it was a DRS assist. He actually makes a mistake there coming through Beckett's. Does get a good exit still. Hype is actually losing a little bit of time to him, but with DRS wing wide open, Slipstream being fully utilized, mode 4 on the ERS, he's just going to slingshot through. Not even really any contest there from Photon because he knows he was just being held dead to right. It's not like you could do about that now, and the train's getting a little bit closer packed as P7, P8 are just under 3/10 away. Don't think it's going to be any position changes just yet because everyone has Slipstream, everyone has DRS, and everyone's using that ERS to the maximum. Alvaro is getting a little bit closer to Flying Finn. No changes just yet though. Jarno is, I think he's really ready to attack Caraton here.
Well, I thought Caraton's doing the attacking on Flying Finn, so it comes and goes, that gap. It's one moment it's 2/10 between Caraton and Flying Finn. President 9 is looking racy behind them though, as he sets the fastest lap of the race so far.
I wonder if he's going to actually get on the aggressive soon. I mean, he's close, and he's obviously on the fresher tyres. Oh, big send it by Jarno, gone down the inside of Alvaro. It almost went for the actual position take, but a little bit of wheel-to-wheel action actually means that Alvaro does still stick ahead. Schneider's there as well, already looking for an attack on Jarno if one presents itself, but not right now. That is going to be still everyone staying as they are. There was a little bit of a spike there, just snapped as Jarno went straight in looking for an attack. Nothing came out of it, and we're going to sit tight for at least a little while longer.
Yeah, we've got a nice little train going on behind as well, between Matthias down to Hayes, so a nice 5-car battle developing there. It's surprising to see this, isn't it? We're halfway through a race and everyone is still so closely bound.
Yeah.
And we say this every single time we commentate. This is why we love AOR. Their races are so close. I mean, halfway through a race, sometimes you see someone 10 seconds off the back or gaps that are ridiculous that no one's ever going to close down. We're still... Okay, the biggest gap realistically is 4.5 seconds, or 4.8 now. And so it is looking like this could be a great race. And I'd say we're only halfway through. Got a long way to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, yeah, Hypers and Photon are very far ahead, but that's purely because they've not yet pit. Everyone else behind them has pit. So when they do decide to go over to the soft compound tyres, they will drop quite a fair few places, but they should sort of fall in around P8 area, which would be great for them both to do because they started so far back at the beginning of this race.
Yep, well, we'll see how that works out for them. They'll probably be coming in probably another...
Oh, 1 second, because Formula Danny doesn't have DRS. Here comes Flying Finn down the inside now. I don't know if Formula Danny's DRS is broken or something, but Flying Finn was just ready to attack. He couldn't quite get the move stuck. But that looks like there might be trouble there for Formula Danny.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these recently. It's an unfortunate thing to have happen, especially in a league race. I'm still on board with Formula Danny and see if he activates this DRS in 5 corners time. Well, 4.5 really, because DRS activates halfway through turn 14. What do you see, sorry?
Race leaders have just swapped. Hyper's just lost out to Photon. It looked like he had a bad exit because Photon just so quickly snapped it away from him. But he's quickly got back up there again. Is Flying Finn going to go for it? No, he's just too far back. There's no way he's going to get this one. But actually, Formula Danny's done a really good job to close in still on Simon. Obviously, Simon doesn't have DRS, but it wasn't like they were just equally matched. Formula Danny just suddenly chucked in a lot of pace there.
Well, he had to. He knew that he didn't have DRS on for Flying Finn to come past, so he needed to step up his game, nail the corner. He did that. Stick it in mode 4 or 5 as soon as you can, just to ensure you're covering off the guy behind. And it's actually working out all right for him because he's still 4/10 clear of Flying Finn as it stands. But Flying Finn's really close. Formula Danny's really close as well to Simon. Is it fixed? No.
Coming in for him though, he's going for it. Look, he's actually just torn right past him. That's a very simple move there for Formula Danny. Simon is going to be under attack as well from Flying Finn behind. Simon though will have DRS, remember, when we come to the hangar straight. Formula Danny needs to pray that it's fixed by the time he gets there. Not necessarily going to be able to utilize it because obviously he's the leading car. But still, knowing that it's back will just put his mindset back into this to show he's got nothing to worry about. Although Formula Danny has such insane pace, he might actually be able to hold out no matter what. We've got to look at Hypers again as Photon swapping places one more time. Hypers straight down the inside, and these guys are just going to be chopping and changing, I think, pretty much until the end of this race, it seems.
Well, they are now approaching that pit window, so if anyone fancies a cheeky dive into the pits, as they both do, never mind. They're not going for an undercut, they're both in.
You couldn't have read that any better, could you, really? Let's be honest. You say, oh, the pit window's just open. And they both go, yeah, exactly, Amkasa. I'm coming straight into it. So now race leaders will be resuming where they were. It was Formula Danny leading the race when they went into the pits. Simon managed to get the pit stop worked perfectly for him. Managed to come out ahead of Formula Danny. But Formula Danny setting a 129.295 as the fastest lap as well does mean that he is going to be your race leader. But now all eyes are going to be locked on Hypers and Photon. They have lost so much time there.
I can't believe Formula Danny didn't have DRS. I'm going to assume it's a visual bug from our end. Because that overtake on Simon was so simple. Simon didn't look like he made a mistake. It looked like a DRS style overtake. And then to set the fastest lap, I can't work out how he would have done that without some DRS. Yes, okay, we know he's quick. But that was very, very quick. Well, and the overtake was so simple.
Yeah, I have an answer for you there. It's actually quite a simple one. Formula Danny is not human, and that's the only way that he could possibly have done that. He's actually leading the race. 6/10 is the gap between him and Simon now. And you got Jarno closing in on the back of Alvaro Cariton. He's actually 2 and a bit tenths away. You got Preshneider in a similar position. There may actually be a swap there if Jarno makes a bad mistake, and he hasn't. Alvaro gets a little bit deep on the grass there. No positions will be changing here, it looks like. I think we're going to be sitting tight for a little while longer. I just want to know whether or not Hyper's actually going to be able to do anything about Lemon.
Yeah, I was about to say Bassel has resumed Hypers versus Lemon. We saw him in another league. It was a couple of weeks ago now, wasn't it? They were battling non-stop. I7's going to lose 2 here.
Hyper's got full send into Stowe, looking for a move down both of them. He can't. Lemon gets past I7. I7 gets stuck out by Hypers. Hypers has managed to do that. That was a very eventful overtake for him. I thought it was going to be a contact between the two of them, but no, they kept it clean. They kept it together. And Collis now on the back of Martin G, very close to the back of him. Martin G is looking for Matthias. I'm not sure if he's going to go for any sort of send-it move, but he's not. Actually, Matthias is closing in on Mr. Anchor as well. That could easily form something here. As you can see, in fact, yes, look at this. Matthias getting on the aggressive, getting on the attack now as we come through. The DRS wing wide open. He can't get the move done there. It looked like he just made a bit of a mistake through it, but he is closing in rapidly. Martin G is not close enough. Position changes going on up further afield as you got Flying Finn and Alvaro swapping places. And then I think Flying Finn's resumed again.
I'm just going to quickly come back to Mr. Anchor and Matthias. ERS levels. We talk about them constantly. Mr. Anchor is on 20%. Matthias is on 68%. Matthias can probably just run mode 4 everywhere he wants. Matthias Mr. Anker just go, I can't do anything about it. Yeah, I've just almost got to give you this place, as Photon and i7 swap places for 14th and 15th, as they haven't swapped. They're still side by side. Going through Magus and Beckett's. This could end in tears or victory. It's going to end in victory for Photon.
Yeah, he's done it. Although, having said that, i7's right on the back of him. They both have DRS, and Photon's not being attacked, actually, because i7 doesn't have any ERS to work with. But there's position changes. Alvaro Caraton's made a mistake, yeah. Yeah, I think they both have. Flying Finn's also dropped as well. They were, I believe, if I remember correctly, 3 and 4, and now they're both 5 and 6.
Look at the gap between the Renaults up front. 1.6 seconds. That is relief then for Simon, but agony going to be for Yano, because he's now going to push Schneider all over the back of him, and no DRS to work with. What has he got in the locker? This isn't going to be the easy overtake. Well, unless he... No, Chris Schneider's in mode 0. He's not trying, really. He knows there's a better chance coming up in a handful of corners.
There was contact. Look at Alvaro Caraton's right wing. He's got no end play on the outside. We need to look at Flying Finn as well, because he's having similar situations. There's also battles going on between Hayes and Collis. They've been battling for a little while, actually. Collis has lost out a little bit. Hayes is in P10 in the final points position, trying his best to work away from Collis. But I want to just quickly take a look at Flying Finn.
Left.
Does he have wing damage?
Front left, 25%. End plate is missing.
Well, that's a disaster for those two then. They're going to fall down the order, especially if the others further downfield have an opportunity to go for it. So we obviously didn't catch what was happening because of the action that was happening elsewhere on the track, but Flying Finn and Alvaro Caraton did have a little bit of contact between the two. Left end plate for Flying Finn is damaged, and the right end plate for Alvaro Caraton is damaged, so they are going to be falling down the order. They were P3 and 4, they're now 5 and 6. Lemon has lost out to Photon.
Anchor and Matthias side by side coming in towards Vale. Matthias big hit! That wouldn't look out of place in a boxing rink. Yeah,
he hit him hard there. Luckily, he didn't get any damage. Neither of them took damage from that, but that was a big slap. Martin G, actually, look at this, right on the back of the McLaren now. This is going to be an opportunity coming in towards turn 3. Is he going to send it? I think he has to. He has. He sent it full mode. He's managed to get himself ahead, but he can't afford to lose the gap. As the inside comes, Mr. Anker, you can see from his point of view, he's actually looking for a slipstream down the inside of him as well. Martin G stuck out, hanging high and dry. He's still alongside of him, but somehow Martin G gets the pace. Mr. Anker is ahead of all of this still, and I think Martin G is going to be looking for a contact.
Big contact. Collis on Martin G. Now it's Collis going into the back of Martin G, and Collis is spun behind. Martin G almost getting an unsafe entry there. It's just touched Lemon, I think. It's all kicking off here. We're not quite in the last few laps yet, but it started to get interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
This rank has 6% left right damage.
That's not good. Not good news at all. But the battle now has started to be broken down a little bit. You got Formula Danny, who's being chased after by Simon as Hayes gets a 3-second time penalty. Look at Simon closing in on Formula Danny. He knows now. He actually has an opportunity to attack and do whatever he wants from this moment forward. Whereas Preshneider is in a similar boat, but more for P3 as he's closing in then. And the gap gets a little bit more extensive, as you can see. Flying Finn, 3.1 seconds behind Preshneider. Alvaro Caraton, who had a contact with him earlier, is going to be chasing him. And then the battle's broken down again to Matthias in P7, and then he's being chased after by 3 other drivers.
Yeah, it's all kicking off. I wish we had 4 boxes to watch this in, because I think we need it, don't we?
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
So many different views. Everything's now starting to kick off. We're on lap 20 of 26. Do a quick penalty rundown. There's not a lot to talk about. Lemon has a 5-second stop go, so if he was to pit again, you serve it then. If not, it gets added to the end. Hayes has a 3-second. And Collis currently in last, unfortunately, has a 3 seconds. So I think that's Collis going to be finishing plumb last, unless there is some big issues up front.
Well, I mean, let's not look away from that. I mean, obviously, we saw Collis having contact with Hayes, Martin G, and I think Lemon was also involved in it as Martin G's re-entry. But you know, that could still happen. There's a lot of battles still ongoing. Alvaro Caraton's not giving up on Flying Finn. He's still trying to take the position from him, and I think with that 4-second gap that Flying Finn has to Preshneider, there's an opportunity for him to actually do that. The gap now for race lead has been broken down a little bit. Yano's actually worked his way up to the back of him. Here comes Simon on Formula Danny. Can't really do anything about it. Just lets him through and says, yeah, that's fine. You run off for now, but I'm sitting on your backside. Martin G's getting a 3-second time penalty, and Preshneider is looking for the Renault. He's made a mistake there. Yano had a big wobble coming through Stowe. This is helping Preshneider out quite importantly.
Yeah, front 4 still
Hayes and Mr. Anker, a little bit of a touch there. Hayes went round the outside. Mr. Anker sort of ran a little bit deep. Hayes just slingshots past him. Hypers is coming through the inside. Good move from Hypers. And that's Mr. Anker losing 2 places in 2 corners.
Yeah, it's not going well for him. But don't forget, Hayes in front has a 3-second penalty to his name. So even though he's in front of these guys, he will lose a fair few places. And by the looks of it, he's going to lose all his points as it stands. He needs to put that foot down really well now and just try and get a lead of anything over these guys around him. Try and salvage something out of this race. But he's going to lose out a place here to Hypers with relative ease. As Hypers slides on through, Hayes will now try and stick to the back of him and use him as a bit of a toe. If he can, anyway.
I mean, the softs running on Hypers will actually help him quite considerably. Mr. Anker had a bit of a mistake there, or just didn't quite get the exit he needed. Photon, who's obviously on the soft tyres as well, is working his way up to the back of him. And to say that both Hypers and Photon were outside of the top 10, Photon's currently still there, but that's only going to be temporary, as you can see how quick he's closing in on Mr. Anker. Coming through Maggots and Beckers is going to have so much more grip. He's going to be able to just slingshot out of this corner here and watch Mr. Anker just get overtaken so quickly. Yes, he's got the DRS wing wide open, but Photon is just going to cruise up to the back of him, stay down the inside here, and it's going to be a job done, I think. I don't think there's going to be any contest there for Mr. Anker, and there isn't. Okay, Photon now into the points positions, although he has a little wobble there. Mr. Anker might actually come back for it. Nope, never mind. That's the way it's going to stay, at least for now.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Flying Finn's tyre numbers. He's going to really start struggling at the end of this race, possibly on that last lap. He's getting towards that not pretty 70%. He should be okay. But that gap between Flying Finn and Caraton and Matthias was 4 seconds not that long ago. It is now down 2.3. They've got to hurry up. And I've just actually seen his Hypers is what's causing it, I reckon. He's just driving really quickly, making everyone else speed up ahead of him. He was about a second faster than Matthias. Matthias was a second faster than Caraton. And so that's that will start to come into play towards the end if Hypers doesn't catch up very soon.
Yeah, Prashnaud had a very big mistake there through Cops, ran very deep. The gap might not show that that's a problem for him, but if you look at the front runners now, Formula Danny might actually just go for this. Simon hasn't really got anything to defend with this. He's kind of been caught up very quickly, although Formula Danny has actually turned off his ERS, so he's not going to be aggressing any further. Prashnaud on the back of Yano as well. They're all in the same boat, but Prashnaud is running very wide in almost every corner. I seem to be watching his car just seem to get out of shape. I'm not sure what he can do here now.
Well, he's got the freshest tyres of the lot, so he should be doing better. But the dirty air coming off the 3 guys in front is not going to be helping him. And he's been stuck behind Yano since he came out of the pits. He's just not really progressed, and now he needs to start upping his game. His Photon ups his game. That, as it stands, will get him an extra point, and he'll be happy with that. Just quickly say, I was about to mention penalties. Thank you for reminding me, Lemon. Top 8 are all penalty free. Then Hayes has a 3-second. Nothing for Photon or Mr. Anker. Lemon is now on 8 seconds with a 5-second to be given at the end. So 3 at the moment and another 5 coming. 3 seconds for Martin G, 0 for I7 and 3 for Collis. As we're on lap 23 of 26 and it's still very overcast. Be interesting if there's suddenly rain, wouldn't there?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see it though. 3 laps to go. It would be a drizzle, I think, at best, unless we have a sudden monsoon fall. I think that'd be very unlikely. Formula Danny is actually closing in on the back of Simon. This is the closest he's been for a little while. I think he might actually be able to go for this here. Yeah, he is. Look at the pace he's chucking down. Simon was just a sitting duck there. Formula Danny flies right on past him. Yano might actually get involved in this as well. He needs to be careful of this. Obviously, his teammates. He doesn't want to risk having any unnecessary contact with him. But it stays Formula Danny P1 for now. Alvaro Caraton, how's he looking? Not going to be able to get the move done there. I want to see if any of the back markers might be able to do anything. No, not currently. No.
They're still quite close back there. Lemon, I7 and Martin G. They're all still battling as I7 just ran very wide on the exit of Stowe. These guys aren't really racing for points as it stands, although No, because I mean Hayes is pretty much covered off. Martin G. He's not going to cover off Mr. Anker just yet. He might towards the end. I7 decides he wants the fastest lap. so no one else can have the point.
I think that's a logical thing to do, isn't it? Really, if you're gonna try that, go for it. But Formula Danny is very much gonna be feeling the pressure now. We've got 2 laps to go, 3 if you include the remainder of this one, and that means that Formula Danny is gonna be trying to plan ahead now, trying to maintain his ERS levels as much as he can. You can see the difference though of how much Simon was having to use his ERS to try and hold himself into this race. Hyper's closing in on Matthias. Actually, look at Preshneider. He is very close to the back of Jano. If Jano even has a slight mistake on the exit here of Beckett's, this is going to be Preshneider just snapping him up.
Yeah, they are really close. They've been doing this. I mean, we saw about a 1.2 second gap between Jano and Simon at one point, but that's now closed right up. And these front 4 have been battling pretty much the entire race, minus a few laps in the middle for pit stops. They've been battling pretty much constantly, and I wonder if it's going to start taking a wear on them mentally. They're just going to start getting a bit...
Oh, 1 second, because Hypers is going for a battle here with Matthias' contact. That's actually sent Hypers off the track. He gets a big penalty. I think that might be a bit unfair for him there. He did get involved in a contact that wasn't really too much of a benefit to him. Photon's coming down the inside. More contact between the two. Hypers looked like he just lost the rear again. Went off into the side of Photon. There's more battling going on through turn 1 and 2. And I think they're going to be keeping this going all the way into turn 3. But no, Photon decides, yeah, I've seen better of this before. I'm going to sit back and just hold on to this. But that was very bad for Hypers.
Yeah, it's not going well for him today. Battles all over the track he's had. And it's just not been his day today. Hopefully he can keep up there and get some points. I don't know about that 5-second penalty. He might try and get that overturned. Obviously, we won't know until a few days' time, but yeah, we'll see what happens on that front. He may end up getting a point anyway, but it's not going to be easy for him from this point. I've said quite a few too many times anyway.
Watch out at the front of the grid. Jano's closing in on Simon very quickly there. Going through maggots, he was very, very fast and actually gaining on Simon. Simon's obviously doing what he can to hold in on this. But if you look at the ERS usage, you would expect Formula Danny to be very low, right? You'd think he's in the lead, he has been for a little while. He's going to be in a position where he has to just use everything to try and get away. Simon was in single digits of ERS.
Matthias was just sending one down the side inside of Carrots and he hasn't come off. And no contact, but he's still trying.
Martin G, Collis, they've come together. There was contact between Martin G, I think Mr. Anchor as well. Martin G gets rotated. He's actually retired from the session as a result. But Martin G got a complete 360. Collis had contact as well involved in that. He couldn't really gain anything. Not Collis, sorry, it was Mr. Anchor that retired. But yeah, Collis actually just a bit too far back. So yeah, that was so bad. Martin G is really involved.
Just in front of this. Matthias has got past Caraton. Hypers is now back up to the rear of him. Obviously, Caraton and Flyfin do have front wing damage. This is the final lap. This is all still to play for. I don't know who's going to finish first. I mean, we can see some of these DNFs at this rate. Tight?
Well, this is it. I mean, if somebody gets a bit desperate, goes for a desperate move and actually makes a mistake, and I'm looking at sort of Simon's territory, because look at his ERS, 6% in the run into Maggots and Beckett's. He's going to have no generation here going through the exit. Formula Danny's going to run away with this now, but it's more damage limitation for Simon. He has nothing. Neither does Jano. Preshneider does, but he's not really going to be having the gap to be able to work with it. Jano's going to be trying to get on his teammate. Simon's made a mistake there in the entry towards Stowe, and nothing changing there. It's getting a little bit leery, as you can see further down the field. Matthias, yeah, Hypers is going for Calverton, Matthias, and Flying Finn. Matthias goes around the outside, Flying Finn, and Hypers just mimics the exact same move, runs seriously deep here. Alvaro Carton's actually still alongside of him, Flying Finn, and Matthias actually going to still be scrapping. Flying Finn's lost out, gets sandwiched between the two Williams here. Alvaro Carton's trying to work his way past him, he just can't. Nothing's happening, but Hayes has been hit. He's rotated the car, he's not going to make it. That's Flying Finn who makes it to the line. Hayes finally gets to the line just in time. But he gets knocked out due to penalties. And your top 10 will be Formula Danny taking the win, Simon taking P2, and Jano rounding out the podium. That was mental.
Yeah, good luck, stewards. That's all I'm going to say after that finish. So much action on the final few corners. It was the boxing in of Flying Finn by his teammate Hypers. I mean, no, it wasn't by Hypers, sorry. It was by Matthias boxed him in on the outside of Vale. And then he just got all 4 cars just trying to come past. As Collis made a mistake on the final corner, and he slides as well. Maybe he wants to cross in reverse.
I think he's just having a bit of fun. He's not really too fussed now. He knows he's going to finish P14. Just having a little bit of a nice exit if he can. But yeah, that is the end of the British Grand Prix. It was insane from beginning to end. Lots of close racing. And the overtakes could have been better. But ultimately, it fell down to who was fastest overall. Formula Danny was fastest in the qualifying. He was fastest in the race. And even though he lost out due to the pit stop, he still recovered. And he takes the top step of the podium. Really well done by him to get the 25 points. But also really well done by the Renaults to get 2 and 3.
Yeah, Mercedes for 4 and 5 as well. So, I mean, Formula Danny might have won the race, but Renault and Mercedes get a nice haul of points to keep up their pressure in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, indeed. But here we go. Here's the rundown for the end of that Grand Prix. So Formula Danny obviously started on pole and took the win as well. So big win for him over the weekend. Simon taking P2. Jano taking P3 with Preshneider there in 4th. Matthias in 5th. Photon in 6th. Alvaro Caraton in 7th. Flying Finn will take 8th. Obviously, Hyper's having that big penalty as well. He did still finish P9, but he might actually jump Flying Finn as a result of that. I7 gets the final point. Hayes gets Best of the Rest award. Lemon takes P12. Martin G 13th. Collis was the last to finish, and Mr. Anker was the only DNFer of this Grand Prix. But that is it for the Apex Online Racing F1 race here in Britain. Thank you, everybody, for joining in, and thank you, Amkasa, as always, for commentating with me. You are incredible, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week for more AOR action. But for now, good night.
Tom Muchley.